Shalini or Shai C is a woman that has brought awareness to realizing, recognizing, and understanding our emotions and responding to them. She's an emotionologist, therapist, intimacy coach, and the author of Love That Was Meant for Me. Hi, Shalini.
Hi, Manisha. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure's all mine.
And I think both of us should say welcome to Mumbai. Because we're both here finally. Yeah.
Totally. Thank you. Shalini, how would you introduce yourself in your own words? I gave you an intro, but what would be your words to introduce yourself?
If I could introduce myself, I would just say that I am somebody who believes in emotion, who believes in the guiding force of emotion. Emotion is not a weakness, it's a strength.
Right.
And I think that, as you know, I call myself an emotionologist, but I'm just somebody that works completely on anything I do being EQ, the emotional quotient. So I'm someone that has lived my life transforming people's lifestyles as a brain consultant who finally decided it's time to transform and impact their lives instead. So I'm a storyteller, and I'm someone that kind of aligns your narrative so that despite everything you go through, you can still live a better story of your life.
I love that.
Yeah.
I have to say that emotionologist was a new word for me. What makes you different from a normal therapist?
Honestly, I think it's because I do believe, like I said, that emotions are a strength. I'm not asking you to get rid of them. I'm not asking you to negate them. I'm asking you to not even control or manage them. I'm asking you to feel them, but then feel them where it's not at your expense or at the expense of the relationship. So understand what's behind them. And more than that, I think when I used or coined the word emotionologist, it was literally, like I just said, it's the science of emotion where you look at that emotion and understand that it explains your behavior, but it does not justify it.
Ooh, nice.
And that's where I think I come in and I say, as a psychotherapist, that listen, I'm going to sit with you. I'm going to help you release, but I'm also going to help you process. I'm going to help you understand where your pain comes from, but I'm also going to help you understand where you cause pain.
Nice.
And then we're going to work on that together. So I'll give you all the explanations you need. I'll validate you, but I won't justify it. We're going to work together to change that pattern. That's how I'm different.
And every therapist has their own story.
Absolutely.
So would you tell us a little bit about yours? Where were you able to define your pain and be able to transform it into one that's going to be able to heal others or help others?
Well, I think, honestly, for me, when it came to my pain, initially when I was hurt, when I went through what I went through, which have been episodes of everything, including even sexual assault, when I went through what I did, it took me time to understand that the acts or the episodes were not the issue. It was the people that caused them. I didn't feel violated anymore by what happened to me. I started to compartmentalize, externalize enough to realize that it wasn't the act of intimacy that impacted me, it was the human being that did. And as I started recognizing that, I realized that the pain that I felt was something that needed to be processed to externalization rather than internalized thinking that why me? And rather saying, okay, it happened to me because of someone. How do I avoid choosing that same version or getting into that same situation? And that's when I said that pain became a lesson more than it became a struggle. Pain became a strength more than it was a weakness. Pain became my power rather than something that took everything away from me. Pain is extremely influential on your life if you allow it to be, but it can be very controlling if you don't understand it or try to run away from it.
And as you can see, I've read your book. I've highly marked it, so you definitely know I've read your book. And from what I can see, this really, at least the message I took away from this, is that you've got to learn to love yourself. to be able to really gain and garner love from anybody else, if that's what you're looking
Absolutely.
for. Tell us a little bit about your core message from this book. That's what I took away from it. But if that is the message of this book, when did you make that realization that you have to love yourself? Self-love is going to be pretty much the most important thing.
This book, Manisha, is actually like a 261-page journal that I wrote when I decided I wanted to become a mental health professional. I had said to myself that if I'm going to in any which way reduce the pain of others, or in any which way use my empathy towards guiding people to not negating their trauma, because I'm not God, I can't negate it, but living a better quality of life despite it, I had to work with mine.
Yes.
And this journal was something I just wrote and I shelved. And I said, no, I'm not sharing this with anybody. This is just mine to heal from, and this is mine to release from my system so that my mental capabilities could be applied to others rather than figuring out my own emotions.
Right.
Then, as I started the journey of therapeutic, processing, and I became a clinician, I realized individuals are actually healing more with self of the therapist, which is where we as therapists actually speak about something that happened to us so that the individual can connect with us.
Right.
And can say, oh, wait, I'm not alone. You've been there. So suddenly expertise also has experience.
Right.
And when you have the combination of expertise and experience, it makes it into a totally different therapeutic session and connection. So a lot of my clients started asking me, can't you just share your stories with the world? So I kept smiling and smiling. Finally, I said, you know what? This book is that. And I said, okay, let's do it. And the book, basically, I handed it as a full manuscript to my literary agent. And I said, why don't we just work towards publishing this? And it became a book of impact. And it just went beautifully well. Everybody has resonated with it. The message in it is very simple. I don't need you to love me. I love myself. I don't need you to value me. I have my own value. I don't demand that you respect me because respect is earned. You need to make me feel emotionally safe. That is about it. And that emotional safety can only come if I feel safe enough loving myself to receive it.
Totally. And I have to tell you, that is actually, you touched on that. That was actually what I loved about this book. It was not rules and regulations to follow, tools and transformation tips. It was your story.
It was real.
And so that's what aligned with me, because I was able to grow from your story, your
Thank
real
you.
story.
Thank you. That's probably the nicest compliment ever. When I was choosing the title for the book, we were really debating. And then there was a quote I wrote in my literally 4th or 5th failed relationship.
Right.
Saying, I loved loving you, for that was meant to be. I loved letting you go, for that was meant for me.
Oh, yes. I think
And
you've put
that
in
is
there.
where the title comes from.
Oh,
Exactly.
love it.
That's
Love
the
it.
title. I had another title, but it was censored. But anyway, that's really sad.
I like this one.
I like
Really,
this one
this
too,
one
yeah.
works for me. Okay. You deal with a lot of people. I mean, I'm not quite sure how many hundreds of lives you may have touched. And so you're listening to conversations about people's deepest fears, their vulnerabilities. How has that made you change the way you see humanity? And if there was anything that you'd like to tell us from all those conversations that you've had, what would it be about what you've learned, something really significant you've learned from all those dialogues and conversations?
So it's funny that you bring up humanity, because one of my very, I would say, known quotes that I do say is, I see a lot of human beings, but I don't see enough humanity. Okay, but sitting across after these 8,000 hours or so, one thing that stands out for me is that, like I said earlier, there's a lot of explanations about why you behave the way you do. And it's easy to blame other people. But the truth of the matter is, the explanations are valid, the justifications are not. And the day that you can actually just sit there and say, wait a minute, I do contribute towards this. Take that little bit of accountability, which is what I think has been the greatest lesson for anyone that comes to me. That I do have to take some accountability for the trauma, no matter what it is.
Really?
Yeah.
No matter what it is.
Other than sexual assault, child abuse, sexual abuse, senior abuse, DV, violence to that level, no. But I'm talking about distress in relationships. I'm talking about discord. I'm talking about arguments. I'm talking about those elements. If you recognize that we are definitely more confrontational than we are conversational, or we stop talking to someone because we actually should be talking to them, but we shut down, and then the other way around, or recognizing and falling down this deep, dark hole of these love languages. I have nothing against love languages, but the two love languages are very simple. I get you, I got you.
I love that.
That is about it. I get you and I got you. And if you can actually understand that and recognize that if I'm telling you I love you in Sindhi and you're telling me I love you in Gujarati, we're still saying I love you, but you're not understanding each other. So you need to say I love you in your partner's language, and your partner needs to say I love you in your language. But that only comes if you get each other and you got each other. Because the health of a relationship does not and cannot be in any which way analyzed by the disagreements. It's analyzed by what happens after the disagreement. That's what determines the health of the relationship.
And that actually brings me to the next question that I had, which was about globally dealing with clients and cultures. Is it all universal? Is there a universal language of love? Or do we have differences based on culture? And if so, how are the scenarios different for our Desi South Asian culture? Is it anything that's unique to us over here in this area of the world?
So much. Culture and conditioning plays probably the largest role in relationships. Not only relationships that you have with others, but relationships that you have with yourself. The relationship you have with society as a whole, from a macro and micro level. Culture and conditioning has conformed us into these preconceived notions and stereotypes of what a woman is and what a man is in Southeast Asia and South Asia. That doesn't take away from the West either. It's just that the West comes with more individuality than the East comes with. So I am born and bred, as per my family, to be individualistic, but not at the expense of my partnership. I am born and bred to believe that my end objective is to be in a union.
Right.
Okay, and is to develop this family of sorts. In the West, you can still do all of that, and many women, girls at the age of 5 are doing scrapbooks of how they're going to get married and things like that, but never been told that the individuality has to be sacrificed in order to achieve it. So I think over here what happens is, if I can do one thing today, it's raise my son to believe that a woman deserves individuality, but to also raise my daughter to believe that as much as now the new generation will tell you you have to be independent, don't do it at the expense of your relationship either. Do it where there's some sort of balance.
Right.
Okay, because right now what's happening is there's a lessened tolerance level and a huge uprising amongst women. So now women are like, no, what we didn't get, we want. So what were privileges are now rights. But don't let those rights go take you to the other side either. Right. So it's the same way there's negative toxicity, there's also overtly positive toxicity. When you come to me and you say, I want good vibes only, I want to feel happy all the time. No, that's not real. I have to treat that. That's not real at all. That means that you don't understand balance. There's no such thing as a happy relationship.
There isn't?
No, it's healthy relationship. There's no such thing as a happy marriage. It's healthy marriage. If you are seeking happiness, you are seeking something that is a little too ambitious and non-existent.
Okay, so I'm going to bring it down now to the subcontinent. We still have to probably work with joint families, that kind of thing. That's pretty much the culture over here.
Absolutely.
It hasn't changed too much. Yeah. At the same time, we're educating ourselves. I'm talking about the next generation. Yeah. Okay, I'm still the other one, but girls are being educated. Girls are being taught that they need to work after marriage. There's nothing like stay home and just be the complete caregivers of the elders in the family and their children and things like that. How do we work that? How do we stay in a relationship? How do we make our relationships healthy when we have to deal not just with our partners and our immediate family, but that whole extended family and their expectations of us?
That's hard. And I will say that's hard. I have a lot of the younger generation coming to me. I have teenagers. I have single young women and single young men. I have married couples. I have dating couples. They're all coming to me with the same thing. I'll tell you how. When we are meeting someone, now I'm talking about the new generation.
Right.
Okay? When you're going into dating,
right,
whether it's app driven or individual driven or just naturally driven, whatever it is, we were always taught to ask those questions. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah.
You know, do you want to live with your family or not? How are we going to work towards developing this? See, the fact is this: we meet someone with an idea, a fairy tale idea, or even a realistic an idea of a marriage, when actually what it is you meet someone and you develop the idea together. The relevant questions are, and should be, not do you want to have children and where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are you going to do if your mom doesn't like me?
Oh, wow.
What are you going to do if I get fired? What are you going to do if we try to have children and I find out I can't? What are you going to do if we have to go through an IVF process? What are we going to do if we find living in a system like a joint family system doesn't work? What are we going to do if we want to live in one rather than live alone? These are the relevant questions. And when you ask these questions, you understand one thing very clearly. I love my parents. You love your parents. We love our elders. We respect them. But when we approach this, we don't approach it as you and me. We approach it as a relationship.
Right.
What helps the relationship? Right. And then once we approach our parents, we tell them that the relationship is what requires this or that, not us as individuals. Let's come to some agreement. We discuss it. And if the parents do say, but this is our culture and conditioning, then you both need to sit down and figure out a balance. So you asked me a question, how do we get to healthy? Healthy is always about balance. But before you even embark on that, make sure you ask these questions, because these questions will determine whether you actually want to be together, not the other frivolous questions that you've always asked.
Wow, that's really significant. I'm going to actually narrow it down even further. Give me 3 questions. If I was walking into a marriage right now, I'm way too late for that, but I mean, if I was walking, I mean, if we were doing the arranged marriage scenario kind of thing, and we have 3 significant questions that we should be asking each other, man to woman, woman to man. 3 significant questions. What should we be putting on the table before we enter marriage in a relatively cultural background like this?
Well, one of the first things is, what if your family does not like me? And they might like me now or they may not like me now, but what are we going to do if we have a lot of friction moving forward? Number 2, what if we lose our financial capability? Are you going to start projecting your loss of your job on me? Am I going to start projecting my loss of achievement on you?
Right.
And number 3, before we even think about bringing children into this world, I do believe you must live together, either marriage or not marriage, for at least a year to make sure you actually care about each other.
Scandalized a lot of the older generation with that.
Okay.
And I noticed that you said, if your mother doesn't like me, you didn't bring the father in. Almost like Well, it's
Second
all good.
time around I said family. Second time
really?
around I said family, yeah.
Okay.
But the first time I did say mother, and I'll tell you why, because that is generally the norm.
Really? Because we have a nation of mamas.
No, nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Because the mother plays a bigger role.
Really?
The father's still vested more into the other side. I very rarely see fathers getting involved in the communal decisions or the family decisions of the children. But I do see a lot of that with the moms. Maybe because that's the general way that mothers feel they must follow through.
Right.
You know, but I very rarely see fathers getting involved in the judgment or the opinions or the conversations.
Wow. And is that the deal breaker then? If
that's up to you guys. That's why I said that's the question you have to ask.
Wow.
If he or she says that, well, my parents matter a lot to me and I don't know if I'll be able to manage that, well, then you have your answer. And if he or she says, don't worry, if this happens, we'll counter it together and make sure that the relationship doesn't suffer, then there's your answer. And then if you're met with an I don't know, well, then you have to have the conversation a couple of times more.
You know what? I'm having a breakthrough moment over here, not as a person thinking about marriage, on the flip side, because I'm a mother of 2 boys.
There you go.
I don't live in the subcontinent, I live in Switzerland, but we still have this whole trying to bridge both cultures and that kind of thing. And I'm just wondering what kind of impact I may have left on my sons. I just hope it's all good, and
I'm sure it is.
You know,
I'm sure it is.
But it is. That brings me to the Desi diaspora living out of India.
That was me.
Yes.
That was me.
Okay.
And my husband laughs and he says, I thought I was marrying somebody that was, American. I've married somebody more Desi than the Desis that are there. Because we are raised with a lot more sanskar. I'll put that in that, okay? The sanskar. We're raised with a lot more values, and not that there's no values here, but the values are forced on us, literally. The touching of the feet, the ritualistic behavioral patterns, those are more enforced.
Yes.
On the West Side, because the parents are too scared that you'll lose touch with your cultural base if you don't do that. So, and then the love for Bollywood, and then everything that comes with that, But no, bridging the 2 cultures, the impact that you have on 2, young male boys and things like that it's not in any which way defined by whether that means you're a good mom or not a good mom. I'm sure you are a good mom, because the fact is, when you can have that thought that I hope I have not left an impact, that is a good mom.
Yeah. Oh.
Because it instinctively came out. That's it.
Great. And you talk about, in your book, you talk about transforming patterns as opposed to changing partners. Okay. I'm actually letting you dive into that by yourself. Go ahead and tell me about transforming patterns. Using a tool or 2, you can give me an instance, you can give me a case study, however you want to play that question. All right.
The reason I say transforming patterns is twofold. First of all, as I said, you need to take accountability for the distress you bring in a relationship. And number 2, if you don't transform your pattern, as I said earlier, you will choose the same version in different people. So you'll never be happy or healthy, whatever you want to call it. So when you transform a pattern, you automatically switch up your mindset to a point where you love yourself so much, it boils down to that. I don't need to choose someone that loves me. Right. You see, what happens is when you approach a relationship with trauma, with baggage, with whatever you want to call it, with pain, you are going to choose someone that actually helps you heal from that. But the minute you start to love yourself, you already are healed. So you don't need someone to heal you anymore. You need someone to just work with you towards the next phase of life. So when you transform patterns, you're already working on those negativities, the negative thoughts, the core, I would say, cognitive distortions, the core beliefs that are assumption-based, not factual-based, the trauma that you've carried for so long that you've unprocessed, the residual aspect of the trauma. All of that, when you work through that, you realize that what you are seeking in a relationship is very different from what you seek if you don't feel as well.
So now, what would be some areas or a time that you would say, okay, this is time you actually called it quits? transforming patterns is not working. This is, give me a case where
Violence. Aggression, violence, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I going to sit there and say that, that movie that came out, what was that? Tupper.
Yes.
That one slap and that was it. Now, am I going to say that that's the norm and that's the routine we follow? No, I'm not going to say that. Everybody makes a mistake once in a while.
Right.
It is, as I said, what happens after the disagreement. And if what happens after the disagreement is still consistent aggression, is still consistent, unethical, unacceptable, inappropriate behaviors, at that point you have to consider it. And finally, I will say something. If you really just do not get along, there's a Gottman method that we use a lot. And the Gottman method is for every one negative, there should be 4 positive. And I think that's a phenomenal formula to work with. I think so.
And you've witnessed extraordinary moments of transformation. I'm sure you have.
Of course.
Okay. Could you tell us, with a story, one that you see? I know there was one in the book that left me, I'm not quite sure what adjective to use. Heartbroken in a little way, but when there was healing over there, I was a lot happier. I'm talking about the story of a little girl feeling the lack of love and attention from her mother. That was my story from this book. But let me not take away from yours, because you may have other stories that may not have even made it into the book. So go ahead and tell me
absolutely
transformation that you've witnessed.
This was a case study, and it was a very profound one. We had this little girl who was actually considered in a way to be the scapegoat of sorts, where the relationship wasn't going very well. And between her and her partner, her and her husband, basically. And the daughter was the one that was impacted by it, because she was actually having to face the not being loved, not being chosen, the projections that were there. Now, you grow up then with patterns, and thought processes which make you feel, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I don't deserve love. But the transformation is this. Whether you are a little girl like she was, or whether you are someone like me who felt unloved in childhood, your central nervous system starts to feel that those projections, those behavioral patterns are normal, because that's what you're used to. So if you are used to people being angry at you, if you are used to people constantly blaming you, if you are used to people actually treating you badly, if somebody does otherwise, you'll feel uncomfortable. So the transformation is actually allowing your central nervous system to become uncomfortable and expose yourself to kindness, to good human beings, to relationships where you are valued, and not second guess them, not believe them to not be real, not to run away from them. One of the greatest transformations that you as a human being could make is to realize that discomfort is probably true love.
Oh, really?
As long as it's discomfort in a very different way. Not unsafe
discomfort. Nice. Now, taking you to your story, you've shared in the book, and that hit me hard. But it's the story of many. Okay, you've spoken about your own trauma. You've spoken about sexual abuse in there, and only if you're comfortable, would you tell us how you were able to change pain into
power?
Power, yes. Wow, you ended my sentence for me. That was beautiful. Yes, how were you able to change pain into power?
That's a hard one. Sexual assault is hard. I was 15, and it did happen at the hands of someone that I would have never expected it to be. In fact, I never told my parents, ever. I think I just told my mom about 4 years ago because I knew the book was coming out. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said it at all. I never told my dad because, as I told you, I've always had a very strong emotional quotient. And that is one of the first questions I get asked, that how can you be in the space of clinical education of intimacy if you were violated by intimacy? And I always say, I wasn't. Intimacy didn't violate me, the man did. So I was old enough to know that. Old enough to know if I told my dad, we would end up losing him, because he would definitely probably perform a criminal act against the person that did it. And we were living in America. So I knew that there's no way, he would have escaped any consequence of his action. But I knew that, and this particular individual was a friend of my father's. So I knew that. It became power when I was able to recognize that it wasn't the act, it was the man. And therefore, I'm not going to allow myself to live a life without the act, without the pleasure, without the relationships. I wasn't going to allow myself to be so impacted by this that I never dated anyone again, that I didn't trust men anymore, that I wasn't going to involve myself in acts of intimacy. That's when I recognized that even with sexual assault, you can rise above, but you do it one of two ways. Either you do it because you have the emotional power to actually identify it this way, or you seek therapy for it and you work with someone who can help you reach that realization. But the only way to overcome trauma is to recognize that it's never going to go away, but you don't carry it forward. At least you try not to. I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, it definitely does. It definitely does. And like I said, I'm having my own moments of awareness and reflection as we're having this interview. And what came out of that story is that almost every woman, big or small, has had their own experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You start talking. I don't think there's anybody
I agree.
in a room of women who may have not, it's relative,
Absolutely.
but have had their set of experiences. Been intimidated,
Anything.
being sexualized, being whatever it is, and it sets patterns. It does.
It does.
And the younger a person is, the harder it probably is to get out of.
It is.
And especially if it, like you said, it is by somebody that was trusted, that you thought you could feel safe in that space. And that space was violated. And when we see the statistics, we see that sexual violence is usually, or abuse is usually with or by people that are closest to you or that are trusted. I don't know where I saw that statistic.
No, it's there.
Blew my mind. I was like, wow.
It is there. Very much so.
And is there a story that didn't make it to this book that you would like to share?
Oh God, so many.
Yeah.
So many stories. I would say, I've spoken so much in this book about relationships. I've spoken so much about, I would say my father and, case studies and other individuals. But I think the one story that, if I had pages left to talk about, it would be more on the fact that, very honestly, we evolve. And I use the term evolution, the evolution of me in the book, another coined thing. But what we don't realize as we evolve is that we become different versions of our own self. And as we evolve into these different versions, we still expect the same version of a relationship.
Right.
We want it to be what it was. I will be married on Tuesday for 30 years.
Really?
Yeah, 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, that marriage has evolved. And there are times where I wonder, thank God I have the capability to realize that the marriage today is not supposed to be what the marriage was in here the first decade or the second decade. If I wanted it to do that, then it would be the same thing where you get Botox to look like you're 20, rather than Botox to just sustain what you have. Nothing against Botox. I'm personally allergic to it, but I have nothing against it. But it's a true allergy, like scientifically.
Really?
I get styes everywhere if I do it, so I can't do it. But what I'm saying is, if I could put in one chapter, it would honestly be, don't try to have the relationship, the partner, or yourself, which is what I used to always do before I became this person.
Right.
Don't try and make it or change it into that.
No.
Because it's not meant to be that. It's meant to be what it is now. And if you allow it to be what it is now, it is healthier than trying to make it into what it was, because then you're auditioning for each other again. You audition too much in this world all the time. At some point, you have to be here. And that's what it is. So I think it would have been the evolution of my marriage. That would have been the chapter I would have liked to have written. Yes. I don't know if my husband would have liked that.
I'm still reeling from the fact that you're saying 30 years of marriage.
30 years on the 21st.
How in heaven is this? I mean, you look all of 30 yourself. So I'm just like, what do you mean 30 years of marriage? But that chapter may just go into another book that I believe is in the pipeline, which I'm very excited about. I mean, I love this one, waiting for the next one. The focus of that new book or the next book is different.
Very different.
I'll leave you to tell us.
So my marriage is not going to be in that book though, but there's going to be a lot
because it doesn't fit with the topic, does it?
No, okay, so everybody does. Okay, so if I could say this very honestly, every single human being is born slightly ADHD, slightly bipolar, slightly bicurious, and definitely slightly narcissistic. Now I'll explain why. Okay, because we come into this world wanting. As babies, we cry for food. So if we don't get food, if we're wet, if our parents don't give us attention, if we're sleepy, everything, we cry because we want it. We come into this world throwing tantrums.
Yes.
Okay? And that's our communication style. Want, 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 want. However, as we grow older, through nature and nurture, right, our natural instincts and our personality, and our nurture, which is our environment, our relationships with our parents, our caregivers, our siblings, we start to recognize what is appropriate want, and what is appropriate need, and what is appropriate in terms of having a fit if we don't get it. Right. Okay? But if we face trauma, we suddenly start to get this little sense of entitlement because we feel we deserve or have the right to behave in a certain way to protect ourselves. Right. Now that particular personality, which is your alter ego, which is your new coping mechanism, right, through nature, nurture, trauma, and the significant correlation and interaction between all of this, can become your dominant personality if you continue to go through pain. And that dominant personality and that alter ego ends up becoming narcissism. Narcissism is a personality that you unleash, that becomes you at any significant time of where you feel attacked, justified or not justified. And you will then become that person who will gaslight, who will not allow anyone to in any which way feel that it was your fault, it had to have been them, because you are just conditioned now to believe that that is your coping mechanism. So this book is actually 45,000 words, hopefully it doesn't get longer than that, though it might, on the science behind narcissism and narcissistic personality traits, both. And it talks about explaining how we use the term narcissism to reflect a bad person. Yes. Narcissists are not bad people. They are hurt people hurting people. And they are hurt people potentially having bad behavioral traits. But when that personality becomes too intense, then we could say, okay, fine, it's moving into the space of being a little mean.
I mean, I have listened to a podcast or two on narcissism, and you're turning what I've thought about narcissists on its head. I mean, one of the theories is that you have narcissistic, or you have a narcissistic parent that leads on to that behavior.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that I took away from what I know about narcissism is that narcissists will love bomb you.
Absolutely.
And it's usually a people pleaser that they attract, and so that's the patterns I see. And now when you tell me that we each may have
a little bit,
but
we grow out of it. I'm saying if you do not, we all have a little of it when we come into this world. How we grow out of it, or if we develop into it, depends on the nature and the nurture. So the book unravels and demystifies a lot around narcissism. And the book's movement is actually not mine and not me, which talks about how it's not my burden to carry your narcissism anymore, and your version of me is not me. So it talks about a whole movement around it. Right. And it says that I am the love, I am the choice, I am this human being. Your narcissism and your narcissistic lens does not define it. I don't want to get into too much of it.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah,
it talks about
and the other thing we may just see on the jacket of the book is Shai C turns to Dr. Shai C.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more.
Thank you. So I have a PhD that is coming to its final end. It's been quite some time. I'm working on developing my doctoral project to its end now. And I am basically going to be a PhD as a clinician. Oh. Yes, on September 26th.
Excellent.
I'm super excited about it.
Fabulous. Yeah. And this podcast is usually about the who behind the what and the how. So I'd like you to end with telling me just a little bit more about yourself. And there's one more added thing I would like to add. Because we're talking about, we already love ourselves. We know about self-love, that kind of thing. But somebody who loves you, apart from being the author, the therapist, what 3 words would you want to hear said about you by somebody you that loves you? So there's 2 questions over there.
Okay. So the first thing is, let me answer the second one. The 3 words, I would say, number 1, I'd like them to always know that I'm a pure soul. So I think authenticity. All right, that is something that matters to me a lot. Number 2, kind. I think it's very, very tough to find kind people. Look, I can be difficult. I can be rude. I can never be mean. I can be rude. I can be difficult. I can, throw a fit like a human being. But I'm a very kind human being. So kindness, I would say kindness, authenticity, and a good mom.
Ooh.
I want to always be recognized that I was a good mom. A mom that gave my children individuality, but also gave them guidance. A mom that gave them a voice, but also taught them when they should be silent. A mom that taught them how to love, but never fooled them and said it's unconditional. A mom that said you can have conditions as well, but make sure they're not at the expense of someone you love. A mom that literally told them, I don't care if you're stuck in a party doing things you shouldn't be doing, but know that you can call me and I will not judge you for it. I will just come and make sure you're safe. The person that I am, the who, is exactly that human being. I observe, I don't judge, even though I'm in the space of mental health. I evaluate, I don't opine. I try my best not to cross boundaries. I make mistakes, but I know when to take accountability for them. And I always want people to know that you are defined by how you treat 3 people: your parents, your children, and anybody that provides service for you. And that's that. I may not be the best wife, but I'm a good wife. And mother, daughter-in-law, sister-in-law, all those other roles are great, but yeah, that's about it. I'm Shai C. I'm not shy, but I am called Shai.
Yeah. Lovely. And the next time I meet you, it's going to be Dr. Shai C.
Dr. Shai C, I know. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Shalini, thank you.
Thank you too. It was wonderful.